Do I have to say anything? Let's do 2 looks with Mothership XI. And yes, I threw the carton away because I did already do a swatch video yesterday. Hope you saw that and liked it and shared it, and that was bullshit as fuck. Because this was the most unpleasant, unsatisfying, disappointing swatch experience I've ever had in my life. And I still have the tiniest spark of hope there inside my heart that they will perform better on the eyes. So I will not do swatches in this video. We are fully talking about performance on the eye. But let's have a quick look inside the palette. It's so boring. I mean, okay, Pat Mcgrath is boring since Mothership XI. That it is what it is. But the quality was always up there. And if you watch my swatch video, you probably have seen how, especially this shade, this is, I have the shades extra, Blitz Crimson Ecstasy. One of the shades that Pat Mcgrath in her Instagram account, she highlighted that super awesome crimson shade as the most stunning and not versatile, but like intense reddish burgundy shade ever. It's, at least from a swatch viewpoint, pure garbage. So the makeup, as you can see, is full beat on. I barely do this because I know I will end up in Bukkake, Glitter Bukkake City, but anything for you, so let's do the makeup. We will do 2 different eye looks, and when we're done with the eye looks, I will also do comparisons. So this first look, I'm starting with this pink shade. It is called Nude Rose, and I do apply this as just as a regular transition color. In my swatch video, I already said that these like first 6 shades in the palette, like on the left side of the palette, they are beautiful. The mattes had another big improvement. You know, in the Christmas palette that came out for last year, the red one with the colorful shades, I totally forgot the name, I will look that up later. The mattes have already had an improvement. The formula was so much better than in other motherships, and now I feel like this formula is also in here, and I like that a lot. And what I do is I build that shade up a bit more, and I have to work quite clean because I already did my face and under eye makeup, so I cannot clean up afterwards. I mean, come on, this is just one shade and it looks gorgeous, absolutely stunning. I'm now using this shade. This is Extreme Vermilion Dusk, the darkest matte shade in the palette, and my brush has a hair just randomly sticking out somewhere, just fuck you. And I apply this on the outer V area, just like so, and bring that bit into the crease. You cannot argue on that this is a beautiful matte look already, and these are only 2 shades. Like, what should I criticize about that? Nothing, absolutely nothing. And on a smudger brush, I also take Extreme Vermilion Dusk and basically just smudge it along the lower lash line, like so. And with the shade Nude Rose, I am blending that out even further down to have a really nice blown out eye. If I would not know at this point how disappointing the 4 special shades in this palette were, I would have now completely turned my opinion, because this was the easiest matte eyeshadow application that I ever had with Pat Mcgrath. This is stunning. I did not get the new eye primer, but I do have the old Intensifies Artistry wand, and from time to time I actually used this to intensify, but I'm personally more a fan of glitter glue, to be honest. And because I just know how Pat Mcgrath shadows work, I do coat a bit of my brush in that Artistry wand too, and let's just get it out of the way. So I'm using now Blitz Crimson Ecstasy, and you can see how flaky the shade is. And this is not because I scratched it with my nail, I just rubbed it with the finger. So I hope that maybe with a brush application this is better, but no. Do you see the flakes on the brush? Let's see how this works on the eye. I apply this on the outer V area, basically where the darkest part already is, but I'm also bringing that into the center of the lid. I just flipped the brush and I'm now dipping into Astro Gilded Aura, and I tap this on the rest of my lid. I'm taking more of the crimson shade and tap this in the center to just blend both of these shades together. I do have fallout. I don't want to blame Pat McGrath. I have fallout with most of metal shades. It's just normal because you don't have like super glue on your eye. So I can highly recommend not judging that and just take a spoolie, a clean one, and then you can flick off the particles. And there is a difference, in my opinion, between having a bit of shade fall out, like when you have really like specks of the shade, of the shadow, crumbles of the shadow on your face, or when you have, for example, a glitter fallout. That means that the colored base itself is sticking to your eye, but the glitter particles, they are falling out. And I think glitter fallout is much worse than a normal eyeshadow fallout. So on the lip brush, I'm using now this shade. This is Skin Tense Radiance, and this is one of the normal metallic shades. And in my swatch video, I already said this. I'm basically using this as inner color highlight. No, I didn't say this in the swatch video, but these metal shades that are not like her Astral or her Blitz shades, they are stunning. They are so beautiful, smooth. They're absolutely, you know sometimes, okay, just let me paint you a picture. You have a brick of butter that is in the fridge. That brick of butter is hard as fuck because it's in the fridge. So what do you do now? You take that brick of butter, put it in the microwave and let it sit there for 5 seconds. And then you get this kind of liquid on top, but as soon as you touch it, super smooth texture. This is how the metal shades feel. And I am talking, when I say metal shades, about this, this, and this. And let me read that off. Skin Tense Radiance, Copper Dawn is this one, and Hypnotic Bronze is this one. These, plus the mattes that are, I said it already, incredible good. These in a 6-pan would have made the perfect 6-pan palette for anybody who loves pinky brown eyeshadow looks and charge you only like 40 euro maybe. So this is now the first look without any mascara. Alright, so this is now the first final look with the Pat McGrath Mothership XI Sunlit Seduction. Let's do the second look before I tell you what this reminds me of. And if you are that deep into the makeup world as I am, in that whole community thing, you probably already saw it. So the second look, I'm starting with this third matte shade, which is called Sienna Mystique. And I do apply this all throughout the crease. And I try to feather it out very lightly because I'm now taking a pencil brush. This is the Refer 14. Back into Sienna Mystique and I deepen up the crease. Because you can say bad things about Pat McGrath all the way long, but her matte eyeshadow have a very special ability. They are buildable as fuck. You can use one matte eyeshadow from her palette and create a gradient that looks like you use 2 or 3. A lot of matte eyeshadows from other brands, they blend into nothing at some point and they disappear, which is just something that is not happening with Pat McGrath mattes. And I'm taking Sienna Mystique again and I smudge this along the lower lash line. Oh my god, I just dusted it in my eyeball. I'm again coating the lid with the Artistry wand. Oh, and before you come at me, oh, when you use this, you're not showing the full performance. I do, because from my point of view, I always use either like this when I think about that I have it, or I use a glitter glue. Every single day. And it does not matter if the palette that I'm using is a Pat McGrath, or if it's Natasha Denona, or if it's any insert name here indie brand. It does not matter. Glitter glue is for me something I use every single day. So that's why that to me is a more honest view on a performance than just leaving that step out. I'm now using Hypnotic Bronze, which is this middle shade here. What I do is I apply it just on the outer part. And I try to not bring it too far in the center, because I do have a plan. Yes, I sometimes have plans. I'm now going into Astral Amethyst Allure, and I apply this on the rest of my lid. For inner corner, we're using Astral Pink Fetish. So I apply this on the inner corner. And I am also bringing that in a bit on the lower lash line. And that is now the second look finished without any mascara. And this is now the finished look with mascara. And here you have both eyes. I'll zoom you in a bit so you can take a closer look. Before we get into the comparison part, let me tell you something that I forgot completely to apply a lipstick. I'm currently testing the House Labs Le Monster lip crayons in, this is Mauve Matte. I have 3 other shades. If you've never tried these, oh my god, do it. They are really good. I like them a lot. But back to business. Before we go into the comparison part of the video, let me just tell you some thoughts about the palette. Do me a favor, for just 10 seconds, try to forget that we are talking about the Pat McGrath palette. Eye looks are stunning. They were a bit of a pain to do so because of the crumbly texture of the special shades, but the result, absolutely stunning. But now remember, this is a Pat McGrath palette. And here is the point where I have a massive problem with this palette. In my opinion, we just cannot and we should not forget that Pat McGrath is charging us luxury prices for a 10 pen palette with quality that is at the same level as, for example, I hate that I have to say this, Beauty Bay eyeshadows. And you know what? That is not even a bad thing, because Beauty Bay eyeshadows are fantastic. Pat McGrath eyeshadows are fantastic. But we, as makeup lovers, we were happily paying these overpriced 120, 130, sometimes even 140 euro because of these 4 shades here. Because these used to be so special. And now let's head into a bit of a comparison part. I have nearly 100 eyeshadow palettes here, so I will not compare everything to everyone, but let's just talk about this eye. Do you know what kind of vibe I get from this look? Natasha Denona Retro. I'm sorry. No, let me just hold it up here. I'm pretty sure that I created this exact look with this palette not too long ago. The only difference I see is that this has more of a golden shimmer because of that one shade, that Astra Gilded Aura. I just had to read it off the card again. And now look at them side by side. You cannot tell me that you don't see this. Besides 1 or 2 shades, these are vibe dupes. And now let's do the mother of comparisons. Mothership versus Mothership. Starting off with Mothership 5. So here they are side by side. I hope they're in focus. I do think that when you have Mothership 5, you will not find a lot of color dupes or vibe dupes in Mothership 11. I think there is definitely a distinct difference between both palettes. Let's talk about Mothership 6 versus Mothership 11. Again, they're very, very different in color story and in the vibe. And I didn't say it, but I think it's like common knowledge, there's also a big difference in the formula. Mothership 6, we have the baked shades, we have 1 and 2. These two are baked, these two are pressed, but they're so much better in quality. Now we have Mothership 7 versus Mothership 11. And we're starting to get very, very similar vibes from both palettes. Even though there still is a difference, they're very similar. I feel like, for example, in the Mothership 7, you have this shade. This is VR Rose Venus. This is a baked special shade. It looks like this one from Mothership 11, which is Copper Dawn, is the same shade, but not in the baked formula and without the duochrome. But it's like this is the base for the VR, I forgot the name, the VR Rose Venus from Mothership 7. Mothership 7 versus Mothership 11. Go with this one, not with the Sunlit Seduction. No. Next up we have Mothership 8 versus Mothership 11. And I have to admit, these are more different than I thought they would be. And this is, even though they have very different vibes, the first time that I see a potential dupe, so let's swatch this. I think we have a winner. This is Divine Dusk from Mothership 8 or Divine Rose 2. This is the swatch of Divine Dusk. This is Hypnotic Bronze from Mothership 11. And here's the swatch. When you look really, really close, you see they have a slightly different base. Let's be honest, if you apply them to your eyes, they look the exact same. Other than that, I don't think there are any more dupes in the Mothership 8 because this is, even though it has a rosy vibe, a truly unique color story because, I mean, we have 4 baked special shades. Oh, it's so stunning. And then you have this pink, this so kind of out of the whole vibe standing aubergine, eggplanty shade. It's extreme burgundy. This is just a stunning palette, and this is actually my second favorite Mcgrath palette. It is very, very close to Mothership 6. Here we have Mothership 9 versus Mothership 11, and upon first glance I see 2 potential dupes. So this is Secret Eden from Mothership 9. Here we have the swatch. And this is Nude Rose from Mothership 11. And although they look very similar kind of in the pan, in the swatches you clearly see the difference. So I would not say they're like dupes, but they're definitely from the same color family. So they both have a pinkish undertone, but the Secret Eden is a bit darker in the whole hue and tone and setup. The second potential dupe, this is Bronze Desire from Mothership 9. Here's the swatch of it. And next to it I swatched Hypnotic Bronze from Mothership 11. And they have a similar vibe in the pan, but Hypnotic Bronze is a bit darker and Bronze Desire is much more warm golden. Hypnotic Bronze has even a reddish undertone. So, not really dupes, but again, very similar vibe and color family. And last but not least, we have Mothership 10 versus Mothership 11. They are very different in my opinion, because Mothership 11 is the Sunlit Seduction, while Mothership 10 is the Moonlit Seduction. And you kind of see that. Mothership 10 is very dawnish, you know, like cool lilacs and just more of a moonshine vibe, while this is dawnish too, but like the dawn in the morning, you know, when the sun is getting up. That is the vibe that I get from this. So now, after I saw every Mothership palette compared to the, like every Mothership palette I own compared to the Mothership 11, I have to admit I am a bit surprised about the fact that there are not as many dupes as I thought it would, and that they do differ from each other. I expected to have much more similarities. I'm honest. It is a good surprise. Just cross out these 4 shades and you are left with one of the most stunning eyeshadow 6-pen palettes ever to exist that already exists 1,000 times already. This could have been sold from Pat Mcgrath as a 6-pan palette, maybe for €45. People would have gone nuts over it. They would have bought it immediately. There would have been no critique. But we are ending up with this as a palette, and we have 4 shades, and we pay so much money. And we used to be happy to pay that money because Pat Mcgrath gave us these baked shades. But now it's this pressed bullshit. And they're not even close to be good. You know, I do have a problem, not a problem, but I'm not a fan of those flaky metallics. But Adapt Cosmetics, Gloss Gods, Glam Shop PL, they have flaky multi-chromes, duochromes and metallics. And they all perform better than this garbage. So my final thoughts on this. If we stay in the perspective that we consider the fact that this Mothership XI is a Pat Mcgrath release, I am disappointed. I think this is a palette that does not hold up to the quality standards we got to know throughout the past years with Pat Mcgrath. This is a palette that is disappointing in any shape or form. Quality, color story, and my personal excitement, and all the other kind of criteria that you want to consider in a ranking or in some kind of a pointing system. If we forget the fact that this is a €130 Pat Mcgrath palette, I could even look past the quality of these 4 shades, because I would have thought like, okay, that brand is kind of testing a new formula. And now they are charging us for this palette, let's say a good price of €65. Half the price would be enough. The thing is, I cannot even say bad things about the looks that I created. Besides that, they're just like very basic, but that's completely fine because I think most of the people will love these looks. But please be careful, all of you. Don't get sucked into the Pat Mcgrath vibe when all they serve you is mediocre quality in a heavy packaging. And just because that whole palette weighs like, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 grams, that does not make it luxury. In my Charlotte Tilbury brand review, I think, was it there? I don't know, but somewhere I said that Charlotte Tilbury is a brand that tries to appear as a luxury brand, but serves us actually drugstore quality sometimes, especially in the packaging. With Pat Mcgrath, it's the other way around. They still try to be a luxury brand by serving us luxury packaging most of the time, but their products perform like drugstore. Maybe not drugstore, maybe like mid-end products, not even high-end. I could keep only one brand between Pat Mcgrath and Natasha Denona. My choice would be Natasha Denona. More unique color stories, much more affordable, better quality. Don't spend full price on this. Just don't. Trust me, you will regret that. And if it hasn't been for YouTube or for Instagram or TikTok, I would not have bought this too. So tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this? We will discuss in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.